So let's talk a little bit about the unexpected detours. No doubt you've experienced your share. And how you've handled each of those detours is what got you here into this seat today. Let's look at how we can face the detours. So when there's change in your life, think about how you respond. Okay, so do you lament the change? Do you wallow in the disappointment of your plan gone awry? Why is my life so hard? Or do you grit your teeth and endeavor to just muscle through it and just keep going till you can't go anymore? Or do you shrug it off and look for another path? Ah, look, there's a better way to do this. There are some traits that can actually help you successfully navigate change, and I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. Good morning. Who's ready for an adventure? Okay, so thanks to the lovely helpers, Elizabeth and Renee, you each have a worksheet, a pen, and a little box on the table with chocolates to fortify you through your journey. We're going to do a little journey together today. All right, so who here has navigated detours in your business? I would imagine everybody has. Yeah. You know, as your business has evolved and business climate changes, you've experienced changes in your life, all of those things are gonna, you're gonna have to respond to those as detours in your business. And that can be really scary. And most of us have a little bit of fear of the unknown. But you know what else? Detours hold the promise of fulfillment. I'm really grateful for all the twists and turns. They've defined me and made me who I am today. Turning the detours into delights is not just about coping with change. It's about thriving because of it. So before I get into this, I have a habit of starting my day with a gratitude practice. And I wrote all this down because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anyone. But there are some people that I really want to thank today. First of all, Tracy and Carla, this amazing event, and for this beautiful organization that you've built. We benefit so much from your leadership. Thank you. And my peeps in chapter 114, yeah, represent. I honestly am a different person today than I was the first day I went to a chapter meeting. Your openness to learning about me and my business has just been amazing, and I really, really thank you for your unwavering support. And I have a special shout out for Jamie Price, our chapter president. So when Christina had to move away and I took over, I volunteered, raised my hand after only being a chapter member for a couple of months to be the education chair. Jamie didn't bat an eye. She actually just assumed competence. She gave me the information I needed and she let me have at it. Jamie, thank you. I'd also like to thank several people who actually put stuff together for me today. First of all, Joan and JP Graphics. Those cute little candy boxes that you all see, that's her staff's work. And I have beautiful new business cards, thanks to Joan too. Gloria, where are you? Oh, okay, I'm a little sweaty right now because the jacket's hot. But Gloria has the most amazing line of makeup. And if you had seen me before I started really sweating, you would see how natural it looks. And my skin loves it. My skin really hates commercial products. And so her products are really, really amazing. So thank you for helping me look good. Shelly Golden. I know you're here today. There you are. Shelly dressed me. I went to one of her workshops on Saturday, and it's life-changing. If you ever get the opportunity to work with Shelly, you really should. She's truly amazing. Monina, I saw you somewhere. There you are. I had a beautiful facial on Monday. I'd actually never experienced that, and I don't have words. Like, it was pampering and relaxing and invigorating all at the same time, and my skin looks lovely, and thank you. And then I also have someone else really, really special to thank here today, my sister, Mona. If you could give a little wave, Mona. She's a really busy venture capitalist and made time today, canceled meetings this morning to be here to hear me talk and to give me support. So thank you. And then there is someone who's not here today, but I still feel like I want to mention her, is my lovely mother who turned 89 on Wednesday. Those little candy boxes that you see, she actually helped me assemble them and put the chocolates in. And bless her heart, when we were working on it, she saw all of the steps that I'd been taking to prepare for today, because I have a vendor table and I'm speaking, and she was watching me frantically going through all these motions. And she said, "Were you really going to do this all by yourself?" And I'm sure all of you in the room can relate to this, because aren't we all just doing it all by ourselves so many times? But I really thank her for her help and also for the advice on my presentation. And finally, to all of you here, I haven't had a chance to meet all of you, and I hope I will. This is really an accomplished, intelligent, motivated group, and you all work with passion and heart. And I tell you, I'm grateful to be here with you and to be counted among you. So thank you. Okay, so what are we going to do today besides me thanking people? So you're going to meet me, and I'm going to tell you about my path that led me to Vantage Shift. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the unexpected detours and traits that can actually help you navigate them. And then I'm going to step you through Dare to, and you guys are going to work. That's when you get out those worksheets. All right, and then I'll let you know kind of what you can do next. And by the end of the talk, I really hope that you'll all be inspired, motivated, and ready for your Dare to journey. So as each of you, I'm a collection of people. So there's the work, Suzanne, who's the coach, the entrepreneur, the writer, the speaker. I'm also a former longtime corporate leader. I'm a volunteer. I work with students, and I'm also an executive mentor, working with social entrepreneurs around the globe. I'm a mom. I have 2 wonderful sons, and I'm a very happy wife and a grateful caregiver. I'm also a dog mom. I love animals, and I love to exercise. So I'm also a solopreneur, like many of you. And you probably already know that small businesses make up the vast majority of businesses here in the US. I think according to the Small Business Administration, it's something like, it's over 99% when just the number of businesses. And over 80% of those are what the SBA calls non-employer firms, solopreneurs. But what's really interesting is I was reading in Inc. magazine that women created half of the new businesses in 2024. Yeah. We're a powerhouse. And I want you to remember that we're a powerhouse as we step through your Dare to journey. A little bit more about me. As Kim Wallace likes to say, who you're going to hear from later, many of the coaches in the Bay Area are recovering technologists. I admit it. And I'm in recovery. I hold degrees in computer engineering from University of Miami and communication from Indiana University. I'm a certified professional coach from University of Miami and a member of the International Coaching Federation. And I am a certified project management professional. I write on Medium. I love to write. And I've been featured in a number of publications. If you're interested, there are links on my website. So a little bit about my personal journey. When, there were so many detours, like I told you before, and I was thinking about all the ones that I've been through, and there were so many, and I thought I could take probably 45 minutes just stepping you all through all of the changes and twists and turns, but I decided to just focus on the ones that I felt were really pivotal. So after I started working, I had my first layoff. And what was interesting was that became a really joyous time of being able to be home with my kids. I was just talking to Tiffany about that. Yeah, that was a lovely time, and how lovely it is to be able to concentrate on your kids for a while. And what was interesting is when I wanted to return to work, I just retooled and I got a new chosen career. I was working for a startup when I got tapped to move into project management, and this was not like well thought out. It wasn't like I said, oh, I want to be a project manager, it's my big dream. I literally had someone come to me and say, you are the most organized person at the company when we were going through an acquisition, so you get to be the project manager. I had been working as a support engineer, had no idea what it meant to be a project manager. But fortunately, the company that acquired us followed the PMBOK to the letter, and so that's how I got my certification. And what was interesting is that led to just multiple years of learning and career growth. Subsequent layoffs actually triggered a lot more changes, like being able to work in a really great technology area that I'd always wanted to move into, and my dream of becoming a coach and starting my own business. So each of those detours could have meant my derailment. But change, to me, is an opportunity for growth, and the difficulties in life are chances to learn. So what's in my future? I have a big question mark up there because I'm not sure if coaching and Vantage Shift, what I'm doing today, is all I'm going to be doing. I think there's a lot left to do, and I think I'm starting a new chapter in my life, and I'm excited to see what I write. So let's talk a little bit about the unexpected detours. No doubt you've experienced your share. And how you've handled each of those detours is what got you here into this seat today. Let's look at how we can face the detours. So when there's change in your life, think about how you respond. Okay, so do you lament the change? Do you wallow in the disappointment of your plan gone awry? Why is my life so hard? Or do you grit your teeth and endeavor to just muscle through it and just keep going till you can't go anymore? Or do you shrug it off and look for another path? Ah, look, there's a better way to do this. There are some traits that can actually help you successfully navigate change, and I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. One is gratitude. I had a method to my madness when I started this presentation with a gratitude practice, and why I do that every day. Gratitude actually is shown to reduce or even remove stress. And I don't know about all of you, but when I'm faced with a detour and I have big changes in my life, I stress out. So gratitude really helps me cope with that. And if you're grateful for the opportunity to try or learn something new, instead of letting that change stop you, it's a really effective way of being able to move forward. So a second trait that's very handy for getting through the detours is a willingness to change. You've probably heard people say that they're stuck. Have any of you said that yourself or maybe felt it? I hear this from my clients all the time. I'm stuck. But an effective way to get unstuck is to think about what you can do differently. Is there a new action that you can take? Or maybe a different way of thinking about the problem? Challenge how you've always done things or how you've always thought about them. And finally, accepting that you made your own choices is another great way of coping with the change. You create your own life. We make choices every minute. And some of them are small, but they're constant. And when you're faced with a detour, you decide how to react. Do you stop and give up? Or do you find a creative new path? It's up to you to stay still or to take those next steps. All right. What if you could handle future detours with more ease? What if you could turn those detours into delights? I invite you to journey with me. You're each going to take your own journey, just knowing that we're all here with you, offering support and encouragement. Everybody should have a worksheet and a pen and chocolates to fortify you for the journey. And I invite you to take this journey the way you want to. If you want to fill out everything in the worksheet, take copious notes, go for it. If you'd like to just jot things down, that's okay. You may also be the type who maybe looks at the question and wants to think about it silently. That's fine. Or maybe you just want to listen. This is your journey. So, indulge me for a second, please. Everybody close your eyes. Yeah? And clear your mind. Now imagine you're riding in a hot air balloon. And you have this beautiful landscape unfolding below you. And there are lots of beautiful and interesting views and interesting landmarks. And you're looking around and there's one that catches your eye. Ooh, that one holds your gaze. You know why? It's the something different that you were looking for. It's the something you want to do differently with your business or your life. Maybe it's that new product or service that you've been thinking about offering, or maybe a new type of customer you want to serve, or maybe it's just a new way of offering your expertise. Perhaps it's a new venture that you just started or that you want to start, and you're not sure of how to proceed. Okay, come on back, and I invite you to dare to make that change. So let's take a minute right now, if you choose to use the worksheet, to note your starting point. What's the change that's happening or that you want to make in your business or your life? I'll give you a little time to write that down. Okay, let's start your journey with the first step. We're going to decompress. So in this group, there's so many capable, energetic, motivated women, and I would imagine that most of you are action-oriented. Yeah? I've seen that a lot in my coaching practice. There's the client who comes in and they just immediately want all the answers to their most difficult problem right away. Or the one who got laid off or wants to make a job change and wants to go straight to writing their resume. Or the client who wants to fix immediately that fill in the blank. The team member, the vendor, the customer, when they're frustrated. What they all have in common is that they're skipping a really important first step. When I first started coaching, it was so easy for me to get caught up in everybody's sense of urgency and their desire to just get right to that answer. And I was very eager to help them get to their answer ASAP. But what I learned was that if you want to go fast, sometimes it's best to first slow down. You know, when I was putting this methodology together, my initial thought of this step was do nothing, but I realized it's a little bit more than that. Decompressing is about taking a breath and feeling. How does this detour make you feel? Are you nervous? Are you scared? Impatient? Excited? Acknowledge and process those feelings. I'll give you a minute to note what you're feeling and sensing and what thoughts are emerging for you. I'm watching to see how many people are still writing. All right. So, allowing yourself to reflect is going to prepare you to assess. This is about taking stock. Examine where you are now and the characteristics of this place and time. It's about knowing your starting point. What is great about where you are now? And what would you like to change? And what values emerge as key focus areas for you? Thinking about your starting point and what's most important to you will actually help you create more meaningful goals. They're goals that are created in the context of what you're experiencing now and what brings meaning to your life. Also examine what's driving the change. What are you looking for? Are you looking for better work-life balance? Maybe personal fulfillment? Or maybe money is rising in importance to your life, or something else. Take a little time to assess your situation, what's important to you, and why this step might require a little more time, but I'm gonna watch and see everybody's scribbles, but don't overthink it. Just note what comes up first. I have a feeling that there are going to be a lot of people who are going to need to go back to this step and kind of flesh it out a little bit more later. But right now, I'm going to help you on the next step, which is rediscovering. So what's been hiding behind your busy march to achieving your goals? What's been asleep while you've been busy being busy? This step is about uncovering your passions, your dreams, your talents that you've kind of put aside while you've been doing something else. You know, I had a client who was really entrenched in their stories, and they didn't realize that they weren't giving themselves credit for what they had learned in their work. They had really grown a lot, but they were stuck in an earlier time of kind of who they were before they started. They were so busy being busy that they didn't realize how much growth had occurred. And then when they were faced with a change, what happened? They thought really small. So with the right questions and some pertinent feedback, they updated their stories and transformed from sitting in that tight little box to striding confidently and purposefully to their ideal new role. So with this image in mind, why don't you take a minute to note what you can rediscover about yourself? What have you set aside while you've been busy running your business? What activities bring you focus, joy, and energy? What would you do if failure was not a possible outcome? Okay, I think we're at critical mass of folks who are done writing. So let's go to your next Dare to step, Envision. So what would happen if what you really wanted really happened? Let's imagine it. Close your eyes and imagine that you're in the future. And that change that you've been navigating or that you really want has already happened. What are you doing? Where are you? What's the location and the surroundings? Who's there with you? Are there people who are working alongside of you? Or maybe they're taking direction from you, or maybe they're doing something totally different. And what feelings and sensations emerge? Okay, come back to the present and embrace successfully navigating that change. Success looks different for all of us. What does it look like for you? Okay, I'll give you a minute to note thoughts on those questions, and then also how this vision aligns with the values that you noted in your assessment. You have your vision. Now what do? You map the journey. So this is when you identify key milestones and decision points. You can map your vision back to the present, or if you prefer to go from the starting point, you can move forward to your vision. But think about how you arrived there. What choices did you make along the way? Remember, I told you we're constantly making choices, and these are going to be the big ones that you have to make on your journey to this endpoint. What stepwise goals did you achieve? There are probably some difficulties that you faced. So you want to note your obstacles and the changes that you made to arrive there. Maybe you noted in your assessment that you need to learn something new or develop a new skill. And what resources did you lean on to get there? So I had a client who envisioned a new role, but getting there was foggy. And that's why they came to me. They wanted help mapping that journey. And what was most challenging for them was breaking it into manageable and actionable steps. So we worked backward from the goal to find their clarity on what they really wanted and why. We looked at milestones like the key discussions that they had to have and assets they needed to create. And then we also looked at what changes would come with that new role. And were there some they could actually start implementing now? And then what are the ones that they needed to plan for? So as you are thinking about your Dare to journey, what are those milestones for you? Why don't you go ahead and take a minute to note that? Okay. We're almost to the end of your journey, but there's still a lot left to do. Okay, so now that you've mapped out your journey, you've traced it, and you've got these steps. Now what? You got to fill in the details. That's what orchestration is about. You're putting your milestones and decision points together and actually developing a plan. So there are some details you're going to add, like the things that are occurring in conjunction with those milestones. You know, we're not on islands all alone, so it's important to think about who can walk with you. You probably have people in your life who will volunteer their help, and there might be others who will be happy to help if asked. So think about who those people are and what you would ask of them. Now, maybe they're mentors who can give you, share their wisdom and the experience that they've gained over time, but they can also help you hone skills. Maybe they're peers who've been through something similar, and they can share what worked and what didn't work for them. And perhaps there's someone that you need to help you maintain your positive outlook and your energy. You may also want a journey partner who can provide a safe space to discuss your goals and your needs and progress. What specifically do you want from each of these people? Also key to achieving this vision is accountability. So if you've identified skills or knowledge that you need to acquire, how you're going to do that to your plan. Do you need to develop new ways to maintain your momentum? How will you measure your progress? And what about those pats on the back that you can give yourself? Celebrate. How are you going to celebrate reaching those milestones? Yeah, and pats on the back that you can get from your friends. Most importantly, this is when you commit to start your Dare to journey. So the client I had who was working towards the new role, for them, orchestration was about identifying who was going to support them in their bid for this new role, and if they got it, and what specific asks they had for them. It was also about celebrating the completion of each of the mini goals and tracking their progress along the way. You know, something else we worked on was what was plan B if plan A didn't work? Because they were committing to making a change no matter what at that point. So take a moment to note how you are going to orchestrate your journey. Okay. I think we are at critical mass of people who've stopped writing. So, what are your next steps? Now that you have a plan, let's look at what you can do next. So what will you dare to do? Based on what you've just created, what are the next steps that you can take to reach that future? So there's a summary on the worksheet, next step summary. And in that summary, this is where you're going to commit to your major milestones, identify the initial resources that you need to gather. So think short term. So kind of in the next 30 days, maybe the next quarter. And then list the people that you're going to reach out to first and what you're going to ask of them. And the top 3 initial actions that you want to take. I'll give you a few seconds, and then where's my buddy Anu? Aha, yes. I am going to honor a request that I got on Saturday. We do have time. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes to talk to a neighbor at your table about what you've come up with and kind of share where is your starting point. You don't have to go through the whole thing, but maybe anything that surprised you. And then what are you committing to do in your next steps? Go. Yeah, I've been watching the timer. Thank you for putting that on the computer. I don't actually think people have questions about this stuff because it's their activities. But yeah, maybe. I can always cut the 2 minutes short. Okay, I'm going to bring you all back because we're kind of running short of time. And I want to make sure we have time in case anyone wants to share. Hello. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying this part. Would anyone want to take 30 seconds to just share their starting point and what they're going to do next? Totally optional, if anybody would like to. Elizabeth.
I'm an accountant, but I wanted a creative outlet, so I'm branching into a handmade business where I do crochet and needlepoint. And my starting point was I've never had a website. So, Renee.
Yay! Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Anu, go ahead.
You know, when you said what do I lose track of time doing, and it was so hard to remember. And then I realized it was writing, and I haven't been doing that. So I think I want to write.
Woohoo! Yay, Anu. All right. All right, I'm just going to share a quick story of a journey of a client I've been working with who is a small business CEO and what her Dare to journey was. She was really a doer, which is very much like everybody in this room. And her Dare to pivot point was really when her business had grown to the point where she couldn't be in everything. And she was trying to figure out what the heck to do. Do you do more? Well, she tried that, and that just led to frustration. And so what we worked on was really kind of shifting that mindset, right? To, you don't always have to be responsible, but you're just accountable. But there are other people who can be responsible for the work. And so that helped her get on her bold new path to being a leader. And focusing on the things that really required her level and her expertise, and being able to hand off the rest. And so she developed key skills of delegation and being able to make collaborative decisions, empowering the people around her to make decisions without her, and really focusing on the things that required her expertise, and also self-care. It was a great example for the team, for her to take care of herself and take time that she needed, and they all learned from that. So I'm going to skip this next slide because I think I'm running out of time. But basically, a coach does a lot of things for you. If you're interested in finding out more, please ask. And let's chat. So this is a QR code to my online calendar, and there is a special offer for everybody in the room in the program. I hope you'll take advantage of it. And I'd love to chat with each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being a fantastic audience and for journeying with me. I wish you a wonderful day, and may you make new connections and have a lot of fun.